Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Still Swinging Podcast. And once again, I'm your host, Thomas. And today, we get ready to get into it. Mr. Anthony Collins, 41 years old, sentenced to 3 years, who is a black man, sentenced to 3 years for unaliving 70-year-old Robert Mays, who attacked his wife, threatened his kids, and used racial slurs against him. Now, you already know this story was going to catch my attention the minute I saw that a black man got 3 years for unaliving a white man who was 70 years old. This told me one thing from what I know from all my years of living in this country. Anytime a black man got 3 years for unaliving that white guy, I know from what I know about this country, he probably shouldn't be in jail. So, of course, I had to dive into the story, which I did. Listen, this guy, y'all know this guy been bothering this guy and his family. Okay, that's what happened, family, in a nutshell. Okay, he had been harassing this guy and his family, this 41-year-old black man and his family, because this 70-year-old white man, you understand, he's still living in the 50s, where you could tell a black man you ain't want him in your neighborhood and get him out of your neighborhood, but that's the time that he remember. And the world changed, all right? And trust me, I know that it should have never been like that in the first place. But what it should have been like and what it was like is two different things. Like, how it should be and how it is always two completely different things. That's what we dealing with. All right, it was a different time. All right, but he's still living in those times where he could just make a black man or a black woman give up their seat on the bus. Okay, that's the era he from. He from the era where, you can go and tell a black man, move along, darky, and you might make it out of there without getting some hands put on you. Now, I'm not laughing. I don't condone violence. But I ain't never about to tell a man how far to go when he protecting his family. That's a completely different animal. You do something to my wife or you do something to one of my kids, you're going to have to answer to me. Point blank. Listen, I accept responsibility at that point. Okay? Listen, bro, you ran your bike into this man's wife on purpose. He punched you in your face. You refused medical attention, then go home later. He refused the medical attention because he knew what he done. He knew he assaulted that lady and he knew that man was defending his wife. He knew he was out of line with this man's kids. Okay, that's why he refused the medical attention and didn't want to talk to law enforcement in the first place for real. Okay, because he knew he was out of line for what he did. Okay, he just thought he was going to get away with it and he didn't. But what ended up happening is the guy went home later on and passed away. So they accused 41-year-old Anthony Collins of the unaliving, which I don't really get that. Listen, and the judge that sentenced Mr. Anthony Collins, the judge told him that 70-year-old Robert Mays was too old. And he should have called the police. You know how long I've been living in this country? My whole life. 50 years, bro. Let me explain something to you. He wasn't too old to attack his wife. You wouldn't have told Mr. Anthony Collins. You wouldn't have told Mr. Robert Mays, if he unalived Mr. Anthony Collins, that Mr. Anthony Collins was too old. The judge would have never said that. Okay, all bets would have been off the minute that black man would have attacked his wife, done anything to his wife, and that man defended his wife. When you're a black man in this country, you're going to pay the price for it. So when you go do it, make sure it's worth it. You understand? Make sure that's the situation. Because he's going to have to sit in jail for 3 years. But honestly, look, that can be reconciled. That can be reconciled. He didn't go do nothing catastrophic. Okay? He didn't go and throw his life away. Okay? He did what he was supposed to do. He protected his family. That's what you agree to do when you get married. You agree, bro, that you're going to put your life on the line at the drop of a hat for this family whenever it's necessary. All right? Whatever the consequences going to be, let the chips fall where they may. You put your hands on something of mine, you're going to deal with me. Point blank. I can't see it no other way. In my opinion, okay, Mr. Anthony Collins did exactly what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to protect his family. Well, that judge is out of his mind. All right, that judge know good and well, if that roles was reversed, that Mr. Robert Mays wouldn't have done a day in jail. He wouldn't have spent no time in jail. They would have never even arrested him. Still swinging out.